No, I was curious, but I should have been quieter.
Your clock's starting. Go.
Mr President, this government needs to stop offshoring New South Wales manufacturing jobs overseas. The Buttigieg government needs to stop New South Wales manufacturing jobs going overseas and start prioritising local manufacturers. The announcement from the Liberal and Nationals that they have decided to buy 13 new Sydney ferries from China and Indonesia goes directly against the Buttigieg government's election promise to make New South Wales the manufacturing capital of Australia. The government's decision to manufacture the ferries overseas lacks merit and denies the people of New South Wales the opportunity to stimulate the local economy and generate local income. There is simply no logical reason for these manufacturing jobs to go overseas. This announcement puts our state well behind Victoria, Queensland, Western Australia and South Australia, who all manufacture trains and buses locally. We are now the only state that primarily outsources the manufacturing of our public transport operations to overseas competitors. Previous to these job losses, there have already been the loss of over 67,000 manufacturing jobs in 8 years. The government should be using their purchasing power to stimulate manufacturing jobs in this state. However, the government has vacated the field. The Liberal National Government has allowed privatisation to take over, and it is now failing to stimulate the economy by creating local manufacturing jobs. We see examples of manufacturing job losses right across New South Wales. Regions need these jobs badly. However, we know over 1,000 rail manufacturing jobs have been lost in the Hunter and Newcastle region since 2015. Another example of this government's failure to ensure local manufacturing jobs was the closure of New South Wales bus manufacturer Custom Buses in 2018. 161 people lost their jobs. Many of these workers had been with the company for decades. Custom Buses had manufactured buses since 1935 for both public and private bus operators, yet it primarily built buses for the Sydney public bus network. This manufacturer closed as a result of this government's decision to send several large contracts for new buses to overseas and interstate manufacturers. For instance, the government purchased 38 double-decker buses from the Malaysian manufacturer Gemilang. Instead of making the buses right here in New South Wales, they decided to send the jobs to Malaysia and ensure that workers lost their jobs in New South Wales. Factories in New South Wales should not be closed and good jobs should not be lost overseas. We have all seen how this government has sent large train manufacturing contracts overseas to South Korean and Chinese manufacturers. Transport manufacturing should be a growth industry in New South Wales. We should be investing in jobs in New South Wales to build our public transport. The LNP should be making local content requirements to ensure that the local industry would benefit from public transport contracts. So now we are seeing how local workers have largely missed out. When governments procure services and infrastructure from the private sector, they should use this as an opportunity to set requirements that improve employee conditions in the industry and attain other goals such as employment of more apprentices and trainees. That'd be a novel thing, wouldn't it? And increased representation of women and Indigenous people. Major government procurement contracts should set minimum standards for numbers of new apprentices and or trainees. Remember those days? That must be employed for the life of the contract. These levels should be set in consultation with unions, industry and the state government. Government can use procurement to source local manufactured goods and services. However, this government is more interested in outsourcing jobs overseas rather than giving workers of this state reliable employment. New South Wales has the potential and the resources to be able to manufacture transport, and giving the opportunity to the manufacturing organisations of our state should be of the highest importance. The Liberals and Nationals should be ashamed for failing to prioritise the manufacturers that are available and capable in New South Wales for these opportunities. Thank you.
The question is that this House do now adjourn. All in